I welcome you all to the course Human Resource Management. Today we are going to discuss about collective bargaining. So now I'll start with what is collective bargaining. So in general, the management and the workers and the employees always have conflicting interest. The management always think in terms of reducing cost and in terms of maximizing production and maximizing profit. Sales should be increased and greater commitment on the part of the employees. So these are some of the expectations always from management. And in the other hand, the employees always think in terms of higher pay. So they need higher pay and good working conditions and greater recognition of work. So these are their demands, these are their expectations. And a proposal that is more beneficial to the management may not be accepted by the employees. And on the other hand, the management may not accept a certain proposal of the employees. And always this will exist. And it is therefore necessary that both the management and the employees arrive at a settlement on every important proposal. So this is what is achieved through what is called as collective bargaining. So this is a very simple concept. So we'll be we'll start our discussion by explaining you the meaning of collective bargaining. So this is actually the background towards to collective bargaining, and now I'll just tell you about what is the meaning of collective bargaining. And here the collective bargaining is a technique that is used for compromising both the management and the employees, their conflicting interest. So this actually involves discussion and some kind of negotiation between the workers and the management on every important aspect of work, like the pay, the working conditions, their career advancement, production target, then the sales target, quality standards. So all these are some of the important aspects to management and management and as well as the employees. So here the word collective is used because the representatives of both the employer and the employees they will meet and discuss in order to arrive at a settlement. So that is the term collective is being given for this term collective. And the next term, which is bargaining. So that is used because during the process of negotiation, certain proposals and counter proposals are made from either side. So always a kind of bargaining which will happen between the employees and the employers. So that is called as collective bargaining. So this is actually what is collective bargaining. So this is actually a literal meaning of what is collective bargaining. And now we'll see the definition given by some persons with regard to this collective bargaining. So here this is actually a definition given by Jusius, Jucious, Jusius. So he has given what is the definition for this collective bargaining. So this refers to a process by which the employees on the one hand and representatives of employees on the other they actually attempt to arrive at agreements covering the conditions under which employees will be employees will contribute and be compensated for their services. That is a definition given by Jusius about collective bargaining. So here the points to be noted is both the employees and the employers the representatives of employees and the employers, they arrive at agreement covering the conditions. So that is next underlined word is conditions under which the employees will contribute and be compensated for the services. And another definition by ILO, Indian Labour Organization. So here they have given what is collective bargaining. So negotiations about working conditions and terms of employment between another ILO, which is International Labour Organization. This actually has given the definition for collective bargaining. So negotiations about working conditions and terms of employment between an employer and a group of employees or one or more employees organizations with a view to reaching an agreement wherein the terms serve as a code of defining the rights and obligations of each party in their employment relations with one another, fix a large number of detailed conditions of employment, and during its validity, none of the matters it deals with can in normal circumstances be given as a ground for a dispute concerning an individual worker. So this is actually a lengthy definition. So just read this definition, the negotiation, what is this collective bargaining is according to ILO. And so with the help of these definitions, we can derive some of the basic features that this collective bargaining includes. So let us first understand what are the basic characteristics from these definitions. Then you can able to understand the definitions part. So the first characteristic is it is actually a voluntary process. So here both the management and the employees, they voluntarily participate in the negotiations and they arrive at a solution. So it is actually a voluntary process and it is a group activity. So here the representatives of management and those of employees, they meet and discuss any important proposal, and therefore collective bargaining is actually a group activity. So it is not a one-man army who can solve the problems of the employees. So it is actually representatives from both management and the employees. They meet together and they will discuss any important proposal. And so hence this is actually a group activity. And the next one is, it is mutual. So collective bargaining can work only when the management and the employee accept their respective responsibilities. So it is actually mutual. So for its success, an atmosphere that is free from the grudge and any other animosities is required. So it is a mutual give and take rather than a take it or leave it approach for reaching a settlement. So this is actually, it is mutual, and that is the third characteristic. And the fourth one is it has flexibility. So collective bargaining provides scope for compromise and for a settlement that is mutually acceptable and beneficial. So neither the management nor the representative of the employees can have a rigid stand on any matter. So it has flexibility. So it should go for compromising and for settlement which actually leads to a mutual, acceptable and beneficial one for both the management and as well as the employees. So that is the fourth important characteristic. It has flexibility. And the next important characteristic is it is dynamic. So like gone are the days when the employees and the employers used to become emotional while negotiating the terms and conditions of the work. This collective bargaining ensures now that every organization or any such negotiation is done in a more systematic and scientific manner. So here it is actually dynamic, because we have changed the way the collective bargaining should be performed in the modern organizations. It is dynamic and it is an ongoing activity. It is not a one-time process. It is actually a continuous process. It requires continuing and organized relationships between the representatives of both the management and the workers. It does not end with a single transaction. It goes on and on. Only when there exists or arise consensus, then the dispute will be resolved. So it is an ongoing activity, and it is complementary in nature. In collective bargaining, employees do not compete with management and vice versa on any matter. So rather they try to complement each other. That is, the management gives the employees what they want, and the employees gives the management what it wants. So that is, it is complementary in nature. And the next one is, it is a democratic process. So here collective bargaining gives the employees the right to be heard. It is a joint formulation of management policies on all matters affecting the interest of the employees, and it is not a mere signing of the agreements granting certain benefits to the employees. So it is actually a kind of like an interest of the employees. It is not just mere signature which is being put in the agreements. It is a democratic process. So these are some of the features of collective bargaining. And now we are going to discuss about what are the objectives. So why this, what is the main objective of this collective bargaining? So at the end, what is the, who are all the beneficiaries and what are the benefits that we can get out of this collective bargaining? So the first objective is to promote a democratic approach to solve work-related problems. So here one of the main objectives of the collective bargaining is to provide an opportunity to the employees to depute their representative for talks with the representatives of the management to find a solution to certain work-related problems. So here the views of the employees are heard by the management. And the collective bargaining therefore ensures a democratic approach to solving the problem of the employees. So that is the first objective, which is to promote a democratic approach to solve work-related problems. And the second important objective is to do away with the need for third-party intervention for finding solution. So here, in the absence of a proper approach to find a solution to the grievance of the employees, the intervention of a mediator may be necessary. So here, if any solution could not be found because of this collective bargaining procedure, then we can employ a mediator. So here in collective bargaining, the management and the employees, they strive to arrive at a settlement without third-party intervention. So that is very, very important. So here, without the need for third-party, we can find solution using this collective bargaining. So that is another objective. And the third one is to provide for better employee-employer relationships. So here both the management and the employees are prepared for talks on issues of common interest. So here each group is particular that it should understand and respect the sentiments of the other, and the collective bargaining, and hence this collective bargaining provides scope for better labor management relations. So here, to provide better employee-employer relations, this collective bargaining is very, very essential. And the fourth important point is to prevent the unilateral action on the part of the management. So that is another important objective of collective bargaining. So it actually ensures that the management does not take any unilateral decisions on matters affecting the workers and affecting the interest of the employees. So it ensures employees' participation in all such decisions. So here it prevents the unilateral action on the part of the management. And the next one is to ensure the trade union is given due recognition. So here the collective bargaining cannot take place if the management is not prepared to recognize the trade union. It is only the union officials who represent the employees and hold talks with the representatives of the management. So here trade union is given due recognition with the help of through collective bargaining. And the next one is to arrive at a settlement that is mutually beneficial. So here the settlement reached between the management and the employees should always be mutually beneficial. So say for example, if the management comes out with a proposal and the representatives of the employees express their views, both make a compromise and arrive at a final decision. For example, if the management wants to raise the daily target of a factory worker from say 10 units to 14 and the employees are prepared for 11, both may finally agree on 12. So this is actually a mutually beneficial thing that this collective bargaining gives. So that is another important objective, to arrive at a settlement that is mutually beneficial. So these are some of the important objectives of collective bargaining. Then we will see what are the importance of collective bargaining. So here it provides bargaining power not only to the management but to the workers as well. So here management usually has better bargaining power when compared with the workers. In collective bargaining, both have the same bargaining strength. So that is the first importance of collective bargaining. Both have the same bargaining strength. And the next one is, it is a practical approach to regulating the terms and conditions of the employment of the workers. So in the workplace, the employer and the employees are the direct parties to any issue. So it is therefore appropriate that they both discuss any problem affecting their mutual interest. So it is actually a practical approach. So whenever they are faced with some issue, they will sit with the management and the issues will be resolved. And the third point is, it takes care of the interest of both the management and the workers. Normally the employer is better equipped to safeguard his interest. An important plus point of this collective bargaining is that it protects equally the interest of both the management and the workers. So the interest of both the management and workers is correctly balanced, and nobody else will get affected through this collective bargaining procedure. And the next point is, there is no scope for any group to thrust its views on the other. So here, under the normal conditions, the management tends to impose its ideas on the employees. So here the collective bargaining ensures that no party imposes its ideas or views on the other. And the next point is, collective bargaining, it eliminates unilateral decisions. So here mostly organizations, they consider decision making their prerogative. So that is their right. So they take unilateral decisions. But here, with the help of this collective bargaining, the employees will also be involved in the decision making process. Their suggestions will be considered by the management favorably before evolving the final decision on any matter. So that is also another importance. And it promotes better labor management relationships. So each group will have to ensure that it does not hurt the feelings and sentiments of the members of the other group. So here the concern for each other is what is important in collective bargaining. And the next one is it ensures industrial democracy. So this happens because the employees' right to be heard is recognized in collective bargaining. It ensures that management is conducted by rules and not by arbitrary decisions. So this creates some sort of industrial jurisprudence. So it provides for greater flexibility in determining the terms and conditions of services of employees and thereby reduces the chances for conflicts. And it also helps to secure prompt and fair redressal of grievances. So these points just indicate what is the level of importance that this collective bargaining procedure is to equip a very good, healthy relationship between the management and the workers. Let us now discuss about the guidelines to be followed by the management, guidelines to be followed by the union, and guidelines to be followed by both. So here the management on its part, it should follow the guidelines like for making a successful collective bargaining process. So the first point is the management must come forward to grant recognition to the trade union without any reservations. So the management must realize that any of its employees may have grievances, and such a person may be hesitant to approach it in his personal capacity. He needs the support of his associates and the trade union gives him such a support. So that is the first thing, it should grant recognition to the trade union. And the second thing is it must develop and follow a realistic labor policy. So such a policy must provide for the payment of wages, fair wages, then provision of reasonable working conditions, then provision of career advancement and social security benefits. The pay and allowances shall be periodically revised, taking into account the increase in the cost of living. So these are some of the things that management should give importance to, and it should follow a realistic labor policy. And the third point is the management must establish and maintain satisfactory relationship with the trade union and its representatives. So if it does, the union representatives will also avoid doing anything that may disturb the relationship. So here the management must establish a very good satisfactory relationship with the trade union. And the next one is the rules and regulations governing the labor force must be periodically reviewed. So here changes, if necessary, must be made in hours of work, their shifts, work methods, then the targets and so on. If the prevailing conditions demand such a change, so here the rules and regulations governing the labor force must be periodically reviewed. So it should not follow a same old procedure. And the next one is where there exists more than one trade union, the management must deal with one having greater membership. So that is the advisable point to the management. So if there exists more than one trade union, the management must deal with one having greater membership. And the next point is the management must identify any grievance of its employees even before the union brings it to its notice, and must be ready with a solution. So here the management must identify. So before getting into the labor union, so they have to just correctly identify that there is some grievance with the employee side. So even before they should be ready to solve that problem and to give them a proper solution. And the next point is, while dealing with the representatives of the union, the management must ensure that economic considerations alone do not get focus. Okay, social considerations are even more important. So here, while dealing with the representatives of the union, the management should consider giving importance not only the economic considerations but also the social considerations. So that is which is required or expected from the management. So the management must not have any secret pact with the trade union officials. So everything should be open. Okay, and these are some of the guidelines to be followed by the management. So now we'll see the guidelines to be followed by the union. So here the first point is, the leaders of the union should not think that their only task is to secure or is to get higher pay, shorter the working hours, and to get them better working conditions for their members. So here the leaders and the members must remember that they must assist the management in improving the quality and quantity of output and in eliminating waste. So that is the first important point that the union should give, or it is actually a basic guideline. And the next point is, the union leaders and the members must be sincere and loyal to the management that has given them employment. So they must show their loyalty by working hard to attain the overall business goals or business objectives, by avoiding anything that would affect the reputation of the organization. That is the second important point. They should be very, very sincere and loyal to the management. And the third one is, the union leaders should not try to politicize the workers' problems. So they must not involve political parties at all in resolving the industrial disputes. They should strive to sort out any issue by holding talks with the management. So that is another important thing. They should not politicize the workers' problems. Then the union leaders and the members should not resort to strike to solve even petty problems in the workplace. So here strike causes hardship not only to the management but also to the workers. The workers are going to lose the pay for the period of strike. So strike therefore should be used only in extraordinary circumstances, when all other methods of showing protest have failed to produce desired results. So that is another important point. The union leaders and the members must realize that the existence of many unions within the same industry reduces the bargaining power. Moreover, under such circumstances, it becomes difficult for the management also to hold talks. So it is therefore necessary that there exists only one union in the entire industry, and unions with low membership may be merged with the one having greater membership. So the reason and the intention behind this discussion is, it is better to have one a huge number of members union. That's it. And the next point is, the union leaders must be honest and fair in their dealings with the management representatives. So they must not get bribes from the management and work against the workers' interest. So that is, these are some of the basic guidelines that the trade unions should follow. And the guidelines that should be followed by both the management and the union. So there are some guidelines. So both the management and the union representatives should command the respect of each other. So both should have enough bargaining power so that they will be able to enforce their claims. So that is the first thing. Both the management and the union should have enough bargaining power. So this is the first guideline for both the management and the workers or the trade union. And the next point is the representative of the management and the workers union must behave in a way that both the groups can repose faith in each other. So collective bargaining cannot be successful if one group is suspicious about the claims made by the other. So that is really very, very important. And the next point is both the management and the union must make an earnest attempt to solve the problem amicably. So an attempt should not be made by one group to derive maximum benefits and give the other group minimum. Okay, so they both should take at most attempt or sincere efforts to solve the problem amicably. And the next one is collective bargaining should not be used merely as a bargaining process. So here the union leaders should utilize the opportunity to apprise the management of the work-related problems of the employees. So similarly, the management must explain to the union leaders the problems confronting the organization. So it is not only the bargaining process. It also a supportive measure that can be expected both from the management side and as well as the trade union side. The worker-related problems also. So both the management and the union must abide by the rules and regulations of the national and state laws that are applicable to collective bargaining. So these are some of the basic guidelines that are required by both the union and as well as the management. So I'll just discuss now how this collective bargaining in India is progressing and what is its stand. So how this collective bargaining process is being used here in India. So here collective bargaining has not made much progress in India because of some reasons. So here we have multiplicity of unions. So that is the first important reason why here in India this collective bargaining process is not much familiar and it has not made much progress. So the first one is many unions exist within an industry. So here this reduces the bargaining power of each, and moreover in such a situation the employer will not be able to decide the union with which he has to hold his talks. So this is the first reason, which is multiplicity of unions. And the next important one is inter-union rivalry. So here each union works against the plan of the other. So there is always a lack of collective action here in India. So that is the second important reason, inter-union rivalry. And the next point is political affiliation of unions. So here many trade unions in India are affiliated to political parties. So AITUC is associated with the Communist Party. So we can quote lots and lots of examples here. So the political affiliation of unions. So the leaders of these unions only dance to the tunes of the political leaders and who utilize the opportunity to attain certain political gains. So that is another important reason. And the next one is lack of able leaders. So here the leaders of most of the unions, they lack how to approach the problem in the correct perspective. So they give a strike call and also pressurize the employees to strike, to go for a strike, even for petty issues. So they will always they will give wrong directions to the employees, and some of the leaders are also corrupt. So this is lack of able leaders is another reason that we can see. And the next important reason is non-recognition of unions. So here most managements are not prepared to grant recognitions to trade unions. They expect their employees to work according to their certain strict terms and conditions. That's it. So these managements do not allow their employees to raise any demand, and they use all sorts of punitive measures like intimidation and pay cuts, demotion, then suspension and even termination of service if their employees indulge in union activities. So here in India, this non-recognition of unions is always a big problem. It's seen everywhere. And the next one is indifferent attitude of the employees. So here the employees in most organizations, they don't want to join into any union. They are prepared to accept any service condition imposed on them by their employers, and they do not want to assert their rights. They don't even extend moral support to their colleagues who may be members of the union and taking part in some program of showing displeasure to the management. So here everybody is having some indifferent in their attitudes towards trade unions. And the next one is autocratic attitude of management. So here there are many employers who adopt the policy of hire and fire. So the mounting problem of this unemployment in India forces people to accept any job and accept any stringent terms and conditions of service. So that is actually which is seen, which is prevailing now. And another one is preference for legal remedy. A few unions that are keen on finding a quick solution to some labor problem only seek the help of the court. So they have no faith in holding talks with the employer. So the preference for legal remedy. So only with the legal remedy or with the legal help, through the help of the court only, they can able to get some sort of solutions. Okay, so they don't have any faith in holding talks with the employer. And these are some of the reasons that this collective bargaining in India has not made such progress, and it is all because of these reasons. Thank you.